Yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. I'm old school, but I keep it funky fresh, y'all. And this is deep, y'all. I'm from the deep, y'all. And what you get is what you motherfucking see.
Welcome back, humans! You know what day it is. My name is Jaime, giving you exclusive vents on headlines that you didn't even know you needed. And with that said, let's get on with some vents. But humans, lately I've been looking at some crazy, going down these crazy rabbit holes on the internet. And I found these declassified documents of government experiments that they've been conducting on us, like since forever since the creation of like scientists, basically, like since the beginning of these guys trying to try shit. And we were just test subjects and the guinea pigs. That's right, humans. We were their test subjects and guinea pigs for like the longest time. And so I'm going to share with you today I'm going to share with you a few of them today and probably a few on the next episode because there was just a bunch of them, of these declassified documents of us being test subjects, basically. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a remedy that you desire, and put on your seatbelt, humans, because these are going to be some good ones. Hello? Hello? Is this the Guinness Book of World Records? Is this like the number I would call like to report like some kind of record-breaking stuff? Oh, that's amazing because I don't know if you know this, but there's like some record-breaking BS going around this whole damn globe. And I'm sitting here looking in your book, and that shit ain't in there. So like, what's up? Hello? Hello? Damn it. Anyways, humans, I'm going to share with you some declassified government documents. So here we go, and I hope you enjoy. I guess in the late 1800s, our crazy scientists, for some weird reason, decided to make like incubators for humans, for human life, right? Was it to save lives, and was it for the better of our health or well-being, or was it for some sinister other purpose? When you look at the old pictures and read the articles, it looked pretty sinister, apparently, because they borrowed babies from local hospitals and put them in these machines they also gave them a nickname, called them child hatcheries. So basically it was processing, not only were they processing like the food at our stores and shit for us to eat, they was processing the babies after the babies was born. And they were just borrowing them from the hospitals. And so I guess it got so popular, they thought it'd be a good idea to just put these things in like world fairs. Or let's put them in sideshows at like carnivals and world fairs all over the world back in the day. And people were so excited they couldn't even wait to have babies to go throw them in these fucking machines. It's bananas that people were so excited to go and look at these babies in the machine. Like, come see what keeps these babies alive. And like, you couldn't wait to go pay 25 cents to go see this little baby at the baby show in an incubator machine. Like, and you probably saw the bearded lady and, the legless wonder. It was like somebody with no arms and no legs, and it was in this sideshow as well. And then you just got to walk through the hall of fucking like baby incubators. Like seeing the babies hooked up to these fucking machines, keeping them alive. For entertainment. For entertainment, humans. My goodness. You can go walk through them like it was some kind of petting farm. You can go look at little babies like it was some kind of petting farm back in the day. Then after you're done, grab some popcorn and maybe go on the Ferris wheel or some shit. All to like nobody's fucking like knowledge. Like they were making everybody seem like, hey, this was normal. This is what you're supposed to be doing. Like, this is the now. And people were so excited. That's why they started selling tickets to the thing. Like, man, you go to the incubators machine. Let's go to the child hatcheries. And then you, like, hear them stories that people talking about, like, the Tartaria World Fairs. And, like, they were, like, repopulating. You never know. Like, was he just selling babies? Some of them signs in there said, like, 12 months of growth in, like, 1 hour. Like, what the hell does that mean? That's wild. Like, they were doing tech back then. Imagine what our crazy evil scientists are doing right now. And that's all I could bring up on that point, humans. But yeah, like I said, you get some popcorn, go on a Ferris wheel, and go look at some babies in machines to see how they stay alive. And they got to use the machines to stay alive. Otherwise, they die. That sounds like a very entertaining carnival. But anyways, here's another classified document that you might enjoy, humans. My goodness. I guess for over 20 years, some scientists were using mentally disabled children and infecting them with hepatitis on purpose. That's right, humans. Mentally disabled children, and they were infecting them with the viral hepatitis. And that's not only the crazy thing. Their parents, when they had didn't know nothing about it. They were just giving it to them without their parents, like, just no fucking, they weren't telling them nothing. And with the parents were asking what's going on, they're saying like their arms sore or something, like they were getting shots. They were like, oh no, don't worry, we're just getting some vaccinations. Don't worry about it, that's all it is. So that's what they were saying when they were like, asking questions when the questions came up about their, child that was mentally disabled. And I guess this school, it was like some school in New York back in the day. And this was going on for like over 20 years. That was bananas. They would give them the virus and they would sit back and like observe them, hanging out with each other while they were like just getting super deathly ill and sick and vomiting everywhere in front of these people in these places, all for their like science experiments, I guess, for like, and they were just using these people with nobody knowing about it. Imagine sending your kid to school and you go and they go and start pumping them full and pumping needles in them and giving your kids all these stuff that you don't even know about. And you come home and your kids may be acting different and you're none the wiser because you have no knowledge of your kid being a test subject. Like just guinea pigs, they're just not going to tell nobody that you're going to test on you. And there's so many of these classified files of these projects they were doing. I'm going to share some on this episode, like I said, and on the next episode because there's just so many of them. But every time they were questioned about this thing, also, that's how the way they justified their answer was, it was like some kind of like Fauci-ass answer whenever you would like press them about these facts or like what was going on and how did these children get sick and all this stuff like that. They were like, oh no, they were going to get it anyways. There was no denying that all these kids were going to get it anyways. So that's how they, got out of trouble with some like Fauci-ass answer, if you ask me. That was some bullshit Fauci-ass answer. Another declassified file, humans, was one that a lot of people do hear about, and it's not really that new, but it's there was some other things released on this actual experiment here. It was called MK Ultra, and with the MK Ultra, you hear it was like experiments with like LSD and like sleep deprivation and like deprivation chambers and sensory deprivation and electroshock therapy on individuals, that were volunteering for things and really didn't know what they were volunteering for. Some of them weren't volunteers, and they were getting done to them. They were getting this done to them without even, being none the wiser. There's a story about a young girl that she was like 8 years old, and they were giving her LSD for like 2 straight years, and they put her in these sensory deprivation tanks, and they were doing electric shock therapy, and they claimed that she was so damaged that she had like the mind of like a baby infant afterwards. Sound familiar? Or was it the one they were talking about from Stranger Things? Or was it that crazy stuff going on and people don't want to talk about it? They also would target certain individuals like terminal cancer patients. And they would come after them and tell them, we could do this and this for you and all these amazing things, and then they weren't really helping them. They were really they were torturing them and doing these experiments on them because they were volunteering to something they really didn't know what they were signing. As soon as you signed it, you was done. They would go into like I said, terminal patients, AKA like, look at the movie Deadpool. Like, that's kind of sounding familiar, doesn't it? But anyways, that was some of the weird things that they would do. And this was a real declassified file that these experiments were taking place. And, it's kind of disturbing, humans. Like I said, that's why I had to call Guinness. That fake call to Guinness, like, hey, man, this is some record-breaking BS going on here around the globe for a long time. Like, basically, we're just been test subjects forever. So it really doesn't, or it shouldn't, seem too surprising now with all the stuff that's happening, right? I mean, it's still upsetting because you want your human rights, and I do too, and I want my freedoms to have choices of what I want to put in my body and things like that. But according to these guys, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter what we want. This last one here is a real doozy too, humans. This one's a really crazy one. And I hope you're sitting down, like I said, because this one's a little bit crazy because there's torture involved. Another release, this one was recently released document that our government used African Americans in the experiments, in all kinds of these experiments, without their knowledge. I guess from the beginning of like slavery to like into the like a later time, into the 90s, humans, like from the slavery into the 90s, according to these documents, that this stuff was happening, stuff like this. They were probing children's brains, and they would throw people into hot pits, which people have heard of before. But the reason they claimed they were throwing them into hot pits was to try to find cures for sunstroke. And not only that, as disturbing as that is, they also used hot pokers and pressed them between their legs and on their legs because they were trying to test skin thickness. Yeah, humans. This was what our government was doing to humans out there. And that is very disturbing to me. This is really to test the thickness of their skin. Like just because the skin was a different color and they thought there was some kind of wow, this is just amazing, And I'll continue. They also would do those tests, like I said, in these extreme things because the government, when they were questioned about some things, and I believe they also believed, and also from all their documents and tests, and this is a quote, this ain't from me, this is like their quote on how they believed all the experiments were, was they believed that blacks didn't experience pain. That was the quote in this article from these experiments they were doing on African Americans. And like I said, this thing started from since slavery times into the 90s. Like, this crazy stuff was happening in the 90s without people even knowing. Like, they brought out hip-hop, crazy, like, gangster rap came out in the 90s, and everybody was all jumping on this stuff. And, like, this stuff was still happening, like, when Snoop probably just started his rap career, and NWA, and, like, and Dre and them guys, like, early Chronic shit, or before the Chronic album, like I said, like Snoop Dogg and, some crazy stuff going down. Right around that time, this stuff was still happening. According to these documents, it went into the 90s. And that makes me want to call Guinness again because, like I said, these are some things that were going on, and if this was going on then, what was, what with the technology advancements we have every day, they put it in our faces, can't wait to get the new phone, and the stuff that they have is even more advanced that we're not allowed to have. And the things that they could be working on now without our knowledge could be even crazier. And like I said, humans, I'm going to share some more of these experiments on the next episode, so I hope you tune in. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, I'd appreciate it if you would smash that like button, hit me with a subscription, and turn on them notifications because I'm here twice a week. My name is Jaime, and this has been another episode of Meant to Vent. Till next time, humans. See ya.